Hello and welcome. It is Sunday, it is afternoon, and it is the day here in the States we flip our clocks and show up early and don't roll over nearly enough. Anyway, I'm your host, Morgan Hazelwood, and today with me I have Doc Coleman and Sako Tumi. Say hi to the nice people.
Hi to the nice people.
Hello, nice people.
So it's Sunday. Sometimes we snack, sometimes we're productive, and sometimes we do both. I just ate half a can of Pringles, barbecue flavor. So I got a jump start on the stream. So what are y'all up to today?
Substack.
Ooh.
And try to come up with 3 goals that I accomplished this week, which is tricky because it doesn't release until late.
You've been 100 the last 3 weeks. What are you this week?
100. Yeah, yet again. So
nice.
The downside is that I'm working on long-term projects.
Yeah.
That don't pay out until I finish them.
Always frustrating.
And it takes forever to do.
Yeah. Isn't that most projects?
You'd be surprised. There are some finite interest sort of projects.
Okay.
That you can do, like 6-page comics. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, and Doc, I think you're still editing for the rest of your life.
I am still editing.
The rest of your life.
It does definitely feel like it's going to be for the rest of my life. But
I mean, as a writer, I would say 20% of my life is writing, and 80% is editing and editing and editing and editing.
I don't edit that much. I do edit, but I don't edit that much.
Sure.
One of the things that I'm proudest of with the short story I just did for Cry of Hounds is I had very few edits.
Nice.
And I know that editor is picky, which means I successfully wrote for the audience, meaning the editor, and only had a few things that need cleaning up, because there's always a few things that need cleaning up. That stuff you don't sweat. But I didn't have any serious characterization or things like that. It was all like punctuation, awkward phrases, and stuff like that. And I felt so good about it. I still feel good about it. But doing the editing where you actually have to go, it's like, oh yeah, this is broken. I need to fix this.
Yeah.
It just seems to take forever.
So I shared a meme online, and somebody didn't get it. It's a have a Super Mario, because it's March 10th, so Mar 10th.
Yeah,
March
Super
10th.
Mario. Yeah.
And someone's like, you can only reblog this today, and I missed my chance last year, never gonna let it happen again.
Yep.
And someone said you could just Photoshop, and I'm like, yeah.
Come on.
Bless your heart.
Come on.
No, I said, why would that fix anything? This is a Mario Brothers joke, and today is March 10th.
Yeah.
Or Mario.
I have explained the joke.
Yep.
Oh my God. And he spelled y'all YAH''LL.
Ooh.
Yahoo.
I mean, pronunciation wise, y'all, I guess.
Y'all.
But
I guess.
Yeah. So I wanted to circle back to Sako saying she doesn't spend 80% of her life editing. And now I'm like, maybe I spend that much because of that external validation I haven't gotten. And, just like, if I fix it just right, they'll love me. Or is it that you do more planning? I don't know.
I do a healthy amount of planning, but I also have like a cutoff point for my edits.
Sure.
My revisions, I should say.
Yeah.
You know, like, because it all comes down to the core concept.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. So, yeah, I've definitely rewritten most of the stories I like the best have definitely come out better on the second writing of it.
Second or third writing of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm very bad at ending stories, though.
Oh, I see.
So
that's my favorite part.
Does that mean that your endings suffer or that you don't want them to end?
I mean, well,
kind of both, I bet.
So my first story ended at 130,000 words when I finished one of the plots and basically dropped my pencil, or the keyboard version thereof. And then I had to make it work with the story and the pacing and stuff. And I rewrote it like 3 times before it worked, or at least I think it works. And I definitely have some stories that I've drafted in which, like my space fantasy, I had to rewrite and threw away the second half. And I've got my last 2 nanos have never been finished. And I don't know where I was going with them or how to wrap them up appropriate for the story. And I'm not sure if it's because the story needs rewriting entirely or if the ending I was aiming for isn't where it should be, because stories change. I'm bad at endings.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, sometimes the story doesn't go where you thought it was going to go because it's going to someplace better, and you've got to let it.
Right. But the last 2 drafts I did for Nano, I don't know where they end.
Okay.
Right.
They don't have an ending yet because I haven't gone back to finish them. Partially because there's a lot I want to change in the first 50K. And part of it is, but like, there's also the, should I finish it when I already know I'm going to change all this or, and then fix it when I do my revisions, or should I start over now with what I have and see what can be salvaged?
Because that is often what I end up doing.
Yeah.
But I count those as revisions. Like I'll write like into the second chapter or into the second act.
Sure.
And then throw away what I had.
Okay.
And then
the story that I did last Nano, that's what I did. I never finished it originally. I kind of had an idea in my head of how it was going to end up, but I never got close to writing that. But I rebooted it because I knew the beginning was so bad. Because when I started writing it the very first time around, I had no idea where I was going with it.
There's also, I think, for both of the ones I want to redo is some level of, I was still working on the world building and the character building. And as I got to know them better, I'm like, oh, it would be better with this. And for the second space fantasy that I'm working on right now, I've got this hesitation of 2 of the 3 storylines have a romantic subplot. Does the third one need one for balance? Should I only really have 2? Would it work better if, one set, were exes and they got back together so they had a previous history? I don't know. Thoughts and stuff, and who knows?
And things, yeah.
When you say you've got 3 characters and you've got 2 romantic subplots, are those characters having separate romantic subplots, or there's entangled with? Okay, separate. Given that we're talking about 5 people that we're following, because you're following the significant others through the romantic subplots, whether they're main characters or not. I would leave that 5th person on their own just to show it's like not everybody is doing romance.
Okay.
In their life.
Sure. So yeah, we have the space red pandas and have like a business rivalry that turns into a like smoochy face. But we haven't gotten to smoochy face yet. And then we have the singer guy and the guy who is his bestie, and they get smoochy face. So after one of them gets shot to save the life of the other, it was very, very romantic. And now they're hiding from the rebels and things and stuff. Anyway, it's very adventureful.
You don't know how to end the adventureful?
I've never done an adventure before. Like I have ideas, but it hasn't been written yet. So.
I write 3 different outcomes.
Okay.
And then I pick the best one.
I mean, that's what I ended up doing with my first book. So maybe that's what, and I mean, the second one took 2 tries. So maybe I should try that.
I don't know. I know a lot of people do that with mysteries.
Yes.
That they'll write 3 different outcomes and see which one feels like it works the best.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my mystery writer friends in the local NaNoWriMo community says she picks 3 people that might have done it, and she doesn't decide until she gets to the end which one did. So they're all 3 equally set up. And because she doesn't know it, she can't give it away to the reader. But like I went to
but you have to edit.
yes. I went to a Q&A with Connie Willis, who does a lot of time hopping stuff. And she's like, nobody knows what order you wrote it in. If you get like 3/4 through and you realize, oh, obviously this had to happen, so this could happen, you can go back and fix it. Nobody has to know. So, everybody's process.
I think that's where I'm at with Borrowed Time. It needs another edit.
Okay.
And it doesn't release until April, so maybe I will work on the edits for that.
Sure.
Before they are released.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. I remember dealing with that when writing Perils of Prague. It was like, get up to a point, it's like, okay, I have to be really clever here because all of my characters most of my characters are like super geniuses in figuring this out. And then it was like, wait a minute. I have a time machine. I don't have to be clever now. I can come back and be slightly more clever in several layers over top of
it. Yeah. I think for most of us, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but the only way I can write really clever characters is to realize months, weeks, days, years later why it needed to be this way and go back and fix it. Because unlike geniuses, I don't have to think of it in the moment.
Yeah.
And this is also one of the reasons why my point of view character is a little bit of an idiot.
I also really enjoy you as the writer totally forgot something, and then you make the character have forgotten it as well, and it comes back and bites them in the butt.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's okay, because you are a person just like your character is a person, and therefore you are fallible. I mean,
and unless you tell them, no one else will ever know that you didn't plan it that way originally.
Exactly. So let me pop into the comments real quick. Des is here. Hello and welcome. Des is fixing their outline, which is mostly just a strong suggestion the way they write to match Broken Mist, since they finished the second version of the rough draft. Yay! Very exciting. Des is cheering you on, Doc. Says that's awesome. Desdemona is scared that when they decide to give their novel to an editor, they're going to tear it all up and make them cry.
It depends on the editor, for one, and what you're expecting out of the relationship.
Yes. And let me reiterate my editor suggestion. When looking for an editor, do a single chapter. Make sure that their editorial style works for you, because you don't want to waste their time if they're not giving you feedback that works for your story and works for you as a person. And it's going to be a struggle for them, reading stuff that isn't really in their wheelhouse.
Yeah,
so
always do a test run with an editor to make sure your styles are compatible.
Yeah.
Because if they're not, neither of you is going to have a good time with this.
No. So
I come from a school of critique. So I expect critique out of my writing. And but because I'm expecting to be shredded to bits, the stuff that happens later in the books usually, which is like, you're doing this great, you're doing this great, you're doing this great. And I'm like, that's great. Is there anything I should do to make it better?
Mhm.
To me, when I'm reading, if I'm like, oh, this is awesome, that means, you've broken through my suspense. I've bought into your story, I've bought into your characters. When I start talking to your characters, that part is working.
Yeah.
But if you really want me to not line edit, I won't, but it's hard for me not to.
Yeah, I line edit.
I go into the attitude of, I give something over to an editor, it's like, make it bleed.
Make it bleed.
Because one way or the other, I've got to deal with that. I'd rather deal with it now.
Yeah.
But if you're going to give me comments on what's bad, I also want to hear comments on what's good, because I know I've got some gems in there, and I know that stuff needs protecting while I fix the other problems.
I will tell you what is working, but I will also tell you what is not working. I'm not just going to slam your stuff. I'm not just going to and some people who are critiquing are more into showing how much they know better than you. It from what I've heard, it mostly comes out more often in like critique groups and stuff, where you have that one guy who is like, oh, it should be done this way. And I can tell you, one of the most hurtful things I have ever been told on an edit letter is, it is clear this is an early draft on something I was ready to query.
Oh shit.
So
Ouch.
Yeah.
I have run into a number of people who have been scarred by poisonous critique groups.
Yeah.
Good critique groups are excellent, but
I've been critiqued like the horror right out of my stories.
Yeah, no. And some people don't get your genre, and they're
Don't hurt the monkey was the worst one that I got. Don't hurt the Reese's monkey.
Yeah. And
yes, the whole reason the Reese's monkey was there to be hurt, to show how serious things were.
I group all of my editorial feedback into 3 groups. 1, the easy stuff, the typos, the line fixes, if I said this 2 chapters ago, it would make a lot more sense. 1/3 is the hard stuff, the things you thought you fixed but are actually plot holes or just whatever. And fixing them usually takes a lot of brain work, but when you actually get down to it, it usually ends up being like 2 paragraphs or a single line to clarify something,
or changing 2 words in 1 sentence.
Exactly. Yes. It's a lot of thought, but you can get there. And 1/3 is the reader just didn't get what you were trying to do. They didn't get the story. They didn't understand. But you might want to look at those spots and set it up better. Sometimes it's just not for them, and that's fine. And, thank you for your feedback. I appreciate it. Yeah. GTFO, I'm not working with you again.
Well, this gets back to my my rule of thumb about when somebody makes a comment about something, that they are always right, that there is a problem.
They're rarely right.
They're almost never right about how to fix it.
Yes.
They're probably wrong about where the problem actually exists.
Yeah. So
but this is where they noticed it.
Yeah. Look at what
developmental edits, man. But I need them hardcore.
Yeah, don't necessarily fix it the way they suggest. It's your story and nobody knows it better than you do. So let me pop back into the comments. Let's see.
It's a good joke.
The March 10th. RC says when he edits, he overthinks every word, but by the end, he's pretty much, F it, I'm done. This is what we're getting. Yep. I mean,
there is that point where it's like, if I edit this any further, I'm going to destroy the story, so it's going out like it is.
Yeah. So So RC is more confident in his beginnings and usually finds them the easiest. Hello, Jenny. Jenny is here for support and hitting the like button. Oh, but is still sick. I hope you feel better. And is kind of a potato today. So
hopefully you are a comfy potato.
Yeah. Desdemono joins us and hoping that you feel better soon. Oh no, 4 days. Ugh.
Kitties just attacked each other.
Oh no. You should not attack.
Do
they know this?
Mouths were clamped on top of each other.
That's
and they were stuck together. I had to tear them apart.
That is very fraught. So anyway, sprint. We sprint.
Sprint.
Oh yeah, sprint. Yeah, that thing.
What do you think? I mean, we don't have to sprint. I just thought maybe we were here for productivity sprints and we might do a sprint.
We might do a sprint.
Stranger things have happened on my stream.
Well, seeing as we've got a timer, we might as well do a sprint, right?
Okay. Then let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, boom. Des is here for the cat drama.
My cat is kind of relaxed right now.
I bribed mine with gushy food, but he has been whining at the front door for days. And also tapping on there's a picture next to it, and he taps on the glass to be like, open the door, open the door, open the door. Whiniest cat ever. Okay, sprint.
He had that taste of outside. Now he wants more. Except for Morgan. Oh, there she is. Oh.
Shadow Legion.
Oh, well, I guess we better talk about how we did.
I guess we better. I started writing my Substack, which means I started writing the blurbs for Borrowed Time. And blurbs are super hard, so I might dig out my book on how to write blurbs and try that again.
I was just say the classic way of how to write blurbs is to write it badly and give it to somebody else to fix it. Because
I don't know anybody like that.
You're not doing a live stream with anybody like that?
I don't think I know anybody who does that.
But yeah.
So yeah, I spent my sprint reading, and then I ducked outside. You might have and eating. They have the Neapolitan blenders again.
Oh,
yum. But like for Christmas, I got a rock tumbler, and it's been sitting there for 2 weeks, finished tumbling. So I took a pitcher of water and went and like rinsed it.
It's been tumbling for 2 weeks?
No, it tumbled for a week and then it stopped, but it still like rotates every little bit, so you don't end up with the slurry turning into a rock hardened sediment.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they look after the first batch, and you can't see anything. Okay,
I can't see that because your name's in the way.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I have rocks too.
And they look like,
they
driveway rocks before.
Is the whole point of the rock tumbler to polish the rocks by having them break off each other's sharp edges?
Yes, no.
Okay.
You put grit in there with them, and the grit is mostly because it's tumbling, but it's not like, I
don't know what it is, but it's
Ooh.
witchy, and now I have it.
So it's kind of like how you polish chainmail by putting it into a bucket with sand and spinning it around.
Yeah.
And you each time you go down in
you change
grit.
the level of grit, so it's a
the
finer
grit gets
grit.
finer. And that's why you have to either know your rocks or get like specific rocks for tumbling, because you want to do it with rocks of similar hardness.
Yes.
Okay. Because
and make sure they don't break on each
other. It'll
other.
get pulverized.
Exactly. Although I did end up with a fair amount of relatively polished gravel. So there was definitely some like chipping off going on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So.
Shiny gravel.
So yeah. So that's how I finished off my sprint. I'm separating the rocks from the gravel right now.
Cool.
Okay.
And right now the container itself is sitting in the sink with some hot water because it kind of looks like mud, and I'm trying to rinse that out before I do the next level.
Right, for sure.
So let me pop into the comments. Let's see.
I see you got a new sub.
Sarah gave me a sub. I don't know when it was because I don't know. Anyway, Desdemona grabs some chocolate. Sarah is editing a book for someone else. It's a gaming book, so it's also kind of stressful. Trying to figure out if she has terms down and whatnot, and a YouTube video, and she's very, very tired.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I would think that editing a gaming book would be the one time when you would want to know nothing about the system when editing it, because it needs to be clear to people who are just picking up the system.
Yeah, but you do need a certain level of you understanding what's happening.
You definitely need to be familiar with games, but
right. So, I mean, Sarah's got that.
Yep.
But yeah, so Sarah says, thanks. I'm still trying to figure out my life, and I don't know why it's so hard all of a sudden. I used to do so much stuff. Maybe I'm old. And I'm like, I totally get that. That's why I quit vlogging last week, officially.
You have officially quit? You're not just put it on hold?
I mean, for now, I'm going into reruns.
Gotcha.
So, and it'll be, oh my God, enough! Where's my spray bottle? Do not chew on me. Sorry about that. Where were we? He's under a towel right now.
Yeah, he is.
Hi, Shadow Legion. Shadow Legion just thought of a great name for one of their characters. And has not replied with what it is. So Sarah has 8 minutes left of footage to edit, and most of it needs minimal editing, but then she has to put it in her effery, and that's where the time goes bye-bye. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I need to post my podcast.
Sure.
Yeah. Not a lot of editing this week, but
I hear you.
So 115 minutes of us talking about making compelling characters.
Sure. Sarah says it's been 5 months, and Sarah says it's not the player's handbook, it's an expansion of the system, so I need to know the base game terms.
Okay, that would be true.
So Desdemona has some rocks and minerals in the story Broken Mist and has been buying random rocks online since. The rock tumbler would be such a fun thing to have. I got it for Christmas, and my roommate, also got one, and they're both from National Geographic, and one, it sounds like it's raining when it tumbles.
Shit.
And mine is the super quiet. It's got rubber around the edge to keep the noise down.
Yeah, sure.
A schmancy one because it was a Christmas gift from people who know. So yeah. Anyway,
I have some cat content.
Yeah, much needed cat vision.
I am a couple decades removed from my Wicca phase, so I only half remember what rocks are.
Yeah. I got you.
So
I'm still into the witchy thing. It's just I have all these rocks and I don't know what they are.
Yep.
I am a lapsed pagan. Probably
that doesn't surprise me.
Erring on the side of deist these days.
Sure.
There's something. The end.
The end.
Yep.
It is ineffable.
So yeah, that's probably what I'll do come this sprint.
Sure.
Is finish up the blurbs.
Yeah.
And
I mean, writing
short and
writing long are two very, very different things.
I would be writing short.
Right. That's why blurbs are harder than long stories for people who like to write long. If we wanted to tell the story in a page, we would have written the page and not the full story. I think the best way I've heard for blurbs are you want to show how it's like other things in the genre and you want to show how it's different. So you definitely want to make sure that its uniqueness stands out and it's voicey.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to do in a little space. So I've read a lot of blurbs when I was doing my author spotlight interviews, and I know the type I like and the types I dislike. Yes. I don't hate the ones that are like excerpts, but they're not my favorite.
Right.
You typically, want to give away definitely up to the inciting incident. You might want to start with the inciting incident, but
I usually do.
Yeah. But
I have to go into the outline to figure out what my inciting incident was.
Yeah.
I think it was the concert.
Sure. So it can get tricky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a log line is the right thing for a blurb.
Both are being requested of me.
Sure. Usually you need a log line as well. So
I like having log lines, but that's not the first thing I think of.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Did we want to explain log lines to people who are watching who might not be familiar with the difference between a pitch and a log line?
Probably a good idea.
Who knows the difference between a pitch and a log line? Or a title?
Or a blog blurb and a log line.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the blurb is what's on the back cover. That's the back cover copy. A log line is a 1 to 2 sentence, he's a lawyer, whatever, and she's a master chef, and together they fight crime.
Yeah.
So obviously my favorite, I use a couple that I got from scripts. So let me see if I can find the two I usually. So okay, here we go. I'll share this link because this is what I use when I do my how to query, etc. So we have, where'd it go?
I've got to step away for a bit. I'll be back.
Okay, you step away. Cat, really?
What is the cat doing?
He is losing his ever-loving. So the two I usually use as examples. Oh wow, these are this is not the page I thought I was looking at.
I like the ones that start with the inciting incident and then are like, now here are the choices.
Sure.
Will they do this or that? Read to find out.
Sure.
That has been my formula since I first started writing. Because the setting alone,
establishing
like is like three sentences.
Sure. My links are no longer up.
Mm-hmm.
The page I got my samples from is no longer up.
Oh.
So that's frustrating.
That's annoying.
But that doesn't mean I don't still have my examples. So let me find, there we go. Okay. So the two I usually use are what? Come on, scroll. Okay, when a killer shark unleashes chaos on a beach community, a local sheriff, a marine biologist, and an old seafarer must hunt the beast down before it kills again. And a tune-hating detective is a cartoon rabbit's only hope to prove his innocence when he is accused of murder. So one of the big things about log lines is you usually use a descriptor and like a title, like a job or something like that. You don't necessarily use names.
Right.
And you want to, get right to the what is the plot? What is the like big major conflict about? Yep. So I think most of us can recognize that. Maybe I'm dating myself.
No, I gotcha.
The first one is Jaws, and the second one is Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Those are some of my favorite examples for log lines. And apparently they have updated this link, so it's no longer valid.
Boo-hoo.
Oh, nope, it's still there. Okay, good. I can link it then. Shameless link droppage. But hey, I'm not the one who wrote these. It's from screencraft.org.
Right.
So yeah.
Neat.
Let me pop into the comments talking about rocks. Desdemona bought a crystal from someone off eBay, clearing out their inventory. It has tiny gray chips in it that are supposed to be E-anatase, which plays a big role in their series. However, anatase is expensive, so I just have to be happy with my tiny chips.
Yeah.
Legit. I keep thinking about mounting a box for rocks on my wall and trying to figure out where the best spot where Catticus isn't going to attack it is.
Yeah.
Have not figured that one out yet.
Mm.
So,
Yawn.
Sorry, sometimes the yawns attack. Let me switch to my headset. My roommate's home. Oh.
Ah.
It's okay. You're allowed to exist in the house.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Excellent. So, yeah. So I played with rocks and read some. But I did open Canva so I could create a graphic for this week's podcast episode. I think last week I was like, hey, season 8 is coming back after 2-month hiatus.
Oh.
The podcast is just audio that's pre-recorded, so it's but I'll be talking about songs I like to listen to when querying.
Mm.
So things I find vaguely inspirational when I'm in the right mood, which I am.
Yeah.
Right now, I am not in the right mood.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, do we want to do another sprint?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me find the window. Let me reset that timer. And let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, boom. had an excellent time eating chocolate and reading and catching up on webcomics.
Oh, very cool. I am in the process of writing my blurb.
Nice.
Trying to sum up my characters and lay down the setting.
Sure.
In such a way that entices people instead of
Instead of no.
Instead of you know what I mean.
Sure.
Thingy.
And stuffies.
I had to go upstairs and change my shirt because when Trill climbed up on me earlier, she got so happy. No, she peed on me.
Oh, yeah, that warrants a change of shirt.
Yeah, definitely warrants a change of shirt.
Never fun.
I think it embarrassed her a bit more than it did me.
I'm sure.
But this is the first time that we've had an issue with anything like that with her. And it's another sign that she's getting old. I mean, she's like something like 14 years old. She's pretty geriatric for a cat. She's starting to get arthritis in her elbows.
Oh no!
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we just started her on some meds, and kind of wonder if the meds are affecting her bowel control. But
oh, sure,
we shall have to see.
Yeah.
And I got back in time to do a little bit more editing, but
sure. Hey, hi. Sorry, there's a cat demanding attention because my cat likes to demand attention.
As long as he's not doing it by biting onto your hand and going all pointy on you,
which he's totally done before.
Yep. Today. Which he's done today.
Yeah.
I had some cereal.
Nice.
Cereal is yummy.
Yay.
Chewing on Philip's milk chocolate covered pretzels.
That sounds yummy. I wish I had a snack like that, but I do not.
Do not scratch my sweater.
I also have at the ready some Sanders milk chocolate sea salt caramels, but
also yummy.
I have not deployed those yet. Apparently, it's a chocolate day.
I mean,
like a chocolate day.
I started off with half a can of Pringles barbecue, so
I am hoping that Greg remembers that I like snacky things.
Yeah, my house was completely out of snacks, and I made a horrible mistake a couple months ago when I went to the grocery store so I like cheese and crackers because cheese and crackers, and I have saltines and then Ritz as, pantry staples that my roommate will never touch because they're made of gluten.
Yeah.
But I accidentally got the whole wheat Ritz. And they're just not right.
I heard that being said as whole wheat crap Ritz.
I mean, I did not say that. Yeah. So yeah. How was everybody else's sprint? Desdemona was doing some research so they can better show that 2 of their characters live in an enmeshed family system.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure what that means.
I think the way I should go about this is the setting now. And character A exists within this place, and character B also occupies this space.
Google. Sorry, go ahead.
Therefore, when they meet, the Cupid's arrow will spring and shit like that.
Yay. I had to look at what Desdemona meant by enmeshed family system, and Google suggests it's one in which it's sort of like tight-knit, only in a toxic way, with parentification, which is where the children take care of the parents. There's an inability to resolve conflict and a lack of individualization because the kids are, so responsible for the, Desdemona says, a family with no boundaries, the child feels like they're part parent and take on care for the parent's emotions, needs, etc. Yeah. So unhealthy and toxic, to definitely some degree.
What fun.
I've read a lot of books, obviously, and where I usually see it crop up is either where you have like the parent who is dealing with drugs and stuff, mental illness, or simply had a child at a very young age and is almost more of a peer than a parent. And sometimes it crops up in immigration stories where the parents don't speak the language, and so the kid has to step up and help out with day-to-day logistics of understanding the parents. The
child is being raised as a translator and a service provider.
But you also get that in non-immigration stories where you have a parent who's dyslexic or has lost their vision or something like that. So but there's plenty of toxic relationships out there, and sometimes it ends up that way because the parent doesn't care, and sometimes it's because there are barriers.
There are barriers.
And sometimes it's because the parent has problems that they're not dealing with. And they're pushing off on their spouse and their kids.
And sometimes it's because the parent doesn't have a support system of their own. And so the support that they would be getting from outside, they have no network. So So I'm not trying to make excuses for people. I'm just saying that things are complicated. And most of us end up doing things for a multitude of reasons.
And it does kind of seem like if you've got somebody who's trying to make it through life without a support system, people tend to avoid them because they don't want to be dragged into being their sole support.
Yeah.
But that also means that person never develops a support system.
Right. So it's really hard when you need a full network. But every time you find somebody to add to your network, you burn them out and they peace out on you. So you can't grow your network, but you need support from more than one person. And that's a challenge. It definitely is. So life is complicated. And different people need different things and we all need different things at different times. So I'm trying to remember and remind myself, just because something used to work for me doesn't mean it's always going to keep working for me. And I need to roll with the punches and find something else that will work for me, and don't just rely on what's worked on for me in the past, because life changes, I change, and
things are changing.
Being an adult is really exhausting, and I'd like to tap out for a while and let somebody else do it. But I gotta figure out taxes and death soon. So right, death and taxes, the two things that never go away.
Two things that never go away.
Yeah, I've got having my dad pass has reminded me that I don't have a will, and I really need to.
Hey, I have a will.
I don't have one.
You should have a call to action.
Oh, can I just have a will that says everything goes to Amanda? Peace out, yo.
Oh,
you can. you might have to detail what everything is, but
True. Okay.
But I think I mentioned this last week that I know that I need to make up some kind of arrangement for managing my IP because Key is not going to want to do it.
Sure. That
And it's not going to be any good for her or any other descendants that I might theoretically have if it's not out there being exercised.
Sure. For those who haven't necessarily dealt with legal rights, etc., IP is intellectual property. He's talking about his writing and his stories. And, you can reprint stuff. You can keep it in publication. Dead people have estates and things and stuff.
All those future royalties for the next 95 years after my death.
Exactly.
have to be collected and paid to somebody.
Yeah. So let me pop in. Desdemona said, slightly morbid story. When my kid was in 3rd grade, he saw my challenge coins at work and asked me to leave them to him in my will.
Oh.
I mean, who hasn't said, hey, Mom, when you die, can I have this?
Yes.
Like, maybe.
That is a thing.
Yeah. It is windy outside.
It really is.
Like.
Is it? Yeah.
I'm watching this tree dance and I'm like.
Yeah, the wind is fierce.
At least it's going at my neighbor's house and not mine.
I'm going out for like 5-minute cigarettes.
Sure. Right? Yeah.
Because it won't last any longer than that because the wind just blows the ash away.
But not just that, like I just can't stand the wind.
Yeah. It chafes your face and everything, and it's loud, and I find that stressful. And if you're going out to smoke to de-stress and the noise is making it stressful, it's
kind of anti-productive.
Yeah. Des says, that makes sense for IP. As an IT professional, Des's brain immediately went to internet protocol address when Doc said IP.
And as a computer professional and a writer, my brain does this little jigger of, which one did you mean?
I have been on so many projects that use the same acronyms to mean different things.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And a few of them require safe search at work.
Oh,
our acronyms are definitely overloaded.
It's true. I mean, anyway, never mind. I'm not going there on the stream.
Don't go there yet.
But I think we all know a few that are questionable. So we have like 15 minutes left on the stream. Do we want to do a 10-minute sprint? Do we want to talk craft? Do we want to set things on craft? Okay, yeah, let's do it.
So I'm looking at this
and if anybody has like craft questions, just toss them out.
When inciting incident occurs, a character type must objective before stakes.
Yeah, that's like the default, but it gets wiggly. And anytime you can bring voice and personality in is always more exciting.
So
is this like a formula for writing a blurb?
It's a formula for a log line.
For a log line, which might as well be a blurb.
It's a good starting spot for a blurb. And then you just add details until
depends on how you write your blurbs. If you overwrite them and then have to shrink them, then or whether you write a seed and then grow it, that's writing a seed.
Yeah. So
I have to come up with a type for my vampire.
A type?
Yeah.
What
like a descriptive name.
Oh, yeah.
To rather than their name, they are a something vampire.
Blood sucking. No.
No, like Is he tired of living? Is he, an excitable little puppy? Is he a mastermind? Is he...
She super enjoys life and helps support it.
She's hedonistic.
Vivacious.
Neither
vivacious
of those things.
Is a good one.
I would never call a vampire vivacious.
I would not call her vivacious, no.
Because that means full of life.
It is, exactly. She is a corpse. She is.
Sure. Yeah.
Effervescent.
Effervescent.
That's
better used for fairies.
Especially if you dunk her in holy water. No.
Right.
It's crazy.
So she's
bubbly?
She's not, though.
I can't imagine you writing a bubbly character.
Tenny is almost there. Tenny has a death wish.
Is Tenny a main character?
Yes.
Oh wow! Look at you.
Tenny is the human character.
Okay.
So it's a human and a vampire. Going boink boink.
Boink boink.
Boink boink. Okay, Apple has given us a whole new euphemism.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
There we go.
There it goes. So yeah, she's Russian for one. She has Russian sense of humor, and she has taste in someone who is who has a death wish, and her soul has been sold.
Okay. I mean, the least descriptive descriptor you could use is when a Russian vampire.
Vampiress. I should specify vampiress.
She boisterous?
She is not boisterous.
She's not boisterous, but she does enjoy life, and
she likes to make breakfast for first responders.
When a generous vampire?
She is generous.
Thoughtful. Sweet. Adorable.
So when a vampire is making breakfast for first responders, is this kind of like being nice to the sheepdogs?
Yes.
So that they won't mind when you come along and pick up one of the sheep and don't make.
They are herd. They are herd first responders. They are part of a herd.
Okay.
And they hold strange hours. So 4 o'clock in the morning is breakfast. Huh?
Tender-hearted.
She is tender-hearted.
So is she a one that feeds and releases, or is she tend to kill when she feeds?
She will feed and release. She knows when to stop.
But it's not like I'll see you in 3 weeks for my next feed.
So far, that has not been the case.
Okay.
They're not feeding from each other yet.
Yeah,
sure.
This is sounding more. Honestly, it's sounding more like animal husbandry than any kindness of heart.
Humans in the herd context.
Yeah, humans are the cattle.
Humans are the cattle.
So she treats the cattle well because she likes animals.
She likes animals.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's a conservationist in a way.
Kind of is.
I just finished reading an urban fantasy series. It was not paranormal romance. It was gay, but it was adorable. Highly recommend. Soulbound by, what the frick was the author's name? And anyway, the vampires are fighting against the gods of hell because if the gods of hell win, then there's nothing left to eat. So they're like the only non-heavenly god figures that are like on the good guys' side.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see if I can find that. It's a 7-book series.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
There's an overarching background story.
Cool.
It's we have this mage who is fighting his past, and god pack werewolf without a pack who's looking for a home, and they find each other.
Oh.
And it's adorable, and I love their relationship so much.
I will have to look into it.
So let me see if I can finish like Haley Thompson, I think.
Haley Thompson. Okay.
Yeah. Why are we not showing me what I actually looked? Haley something.
Haley Thompson.
Apparently not Thompson.
Apparently not Thompson.
Turner. There we go. It starts with a T. I was really close.
Turner.
Soulbound. Oh, and it's on Kindle Unlimited if you have that. So.
Oh, I don't.
I totally won't give you my login.
Oh.
We'll talk later.
We'll talk later. Oh, I spelled her name wrong. Okay.
There we go. So, yeah. They're just adorable and sweet and thoughtful, and yeah.
Resurrection Reprise.
We start with A Fairy of Bones and Gold.
Ooh.
New audiobooks.
Ooh. So, and they're like 350 to 450 pages. So,
okay.
My only problem with the entire series is the last book was like 90% battle.
Hey, I am not. That does not make me mad.
They've been building to it legit, but I read fast. But when I hit a lot of
when you hit the action scenes that are going pretty fast,
they slow me down. And 80% of the book was that I had to take a few breaks.
Oh, sheesh.
So, I mean, like it took me 8 hours instead of 5 hours to read it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, but yeah, it's Patrick and Jono. So,
okay,
they're adorable. I liked it.
I've never heard of anyone who's slowed down at the fast-paced bits before.
There was very little dialogue. It's a lot of description.
Okay. So you tend to read the dialogue and skip over the description generally?
No, but description slows me down. And description when it's talking about who moved where and troop movements and stuff, that slows me down.
Because you have to take extra time to wrap your head around the logistics and everything. And
there's also a lot less white space.
Visualize.
Okay. Oh God, there's so many.
Okay.
I said there were 7 of them. And there's one spinoff, but it's a standalone.
Are they metahuman files?
I mean, there's a werewolf? No, the series is Soulbound.
The series is Soulbound.
Here, I will link drop you.
Nope, I found it.
Okay.
Okay.
German Soulbound.
Yeah. And there's
no American Soulbound.
No, although the mage works for the U.S. government.
Oh, that's cool. My German is not so good.
There's English language versions. I don't read German at all.
Okay. There's a short story in English.
Nope. You are clearly looking at the wrong thing if you're struggling to find English language version. Give me a moment and I will fix this for you.
Okay.
I will link drop you
I went to Soulbound under ebooks and found German.
I mean, there's a lot of Let me see if I can find this. Okay, here's the series. I'm gonna shamelessly link drop my Amazon affiliates link.
Oh, okay.
Shameless drop. Boom. So,
as one does.
As one does. But that's the series link.
I'm sorry. These days, if anyone gives you a shortened Amazon link, you should assume it's their affiliate link.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I can spend $49 to buy them.
Or we can not talk later about logging into my Kindle
Okay.
account.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So or yeah, maybe I'll buy it for you because I liked it and I'm probably going to reread it at some point, but not this week because...
Well, I'm liking the blurb.
Oh yeah, also read Amazon blurbs and see what sort of styles you like. And I like about 3 paragraphs. A little more than that is a bit much. But I don't hate the ones with like a little tagline at the beginning.
I like the tagline just fine.
Yeah. I'm saying this is kind of what I like in a blurb.
Oh, I got you. So like
since we're working on blurbs, look at books you like and then see which ones have blurbs you like and then try and leverage that for your own works.
Yep.
So
very cool. I'm definitely going to look into that.
Yeah, it's definitely not the smuttiest stuff I've read.
Cool.
But,
I don't need it to be sweaty.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But you know, there is some action, but it's mostly about the overarching plot and the way they support each other.
Well, that is basically my story as well. So.
Anyway, has anybody else read something fun lately?
I find that writing romance is fun.
Okay.
I ran my outline through Romancing the Beat.
Sure.
And I hit all the marks.
Nice.
So for a first try, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. For those who are unfamiliar with writing romance has specific expectations for pacing, and if you don't hit those beats, romance writers will 1-star review you and you'll go on blast. Romance is probably one of the most, like, the story doesn't have to be formulaic, but there are certain beats.
There are certain beats and
that you have to hit.
There has to be a happy ending.
Yes.
So romance
happy for now.
Readers, right? Because you said romance writers.
Yes.
Both, I think.
Okay. Well, it's like if you're writing a romance and a romance writer is giving you a 1-star, that means that they're jealous that you might be taking away the sales.
Yeah, you're right.
But if a reader gives you a 1-star, that means that they're upset that you didn't hit the beats that they were expecting.
Yeah. That's why, especially if you're writing like fantasy romance or whatever, if you hit the fantasy beats, expected beats, but not the romance ones, you definitely want to market it as a fantasy with romantic elements. And if you hit the romance beats, but not necessarily all the fantasy beats, where is the story about the fantasy or is it about the romance? If it's about the romance, you got to hit those beats.
Then it was nailed. Yeah. In which case.
Yeah. And if you market to the wrong group, you're just going to get blasted slaughtered. And you're not going to find your audience. Your audience is out there. You just have to make sure you're talking to the right people. I went
hunting for psychological thrillers and I ended up with erotica. I was like, come on. Psychological thriller.
It is a subgenre of psychological thriller,
like,
but not all of them
full on erotica.
Yeah. Well, are you talking in terms of this is what you searched for versus what Amazon gave you, or?
Yes.
Okay. There is a phenomenon where people,
everything gets reduced to romance eventually.
Well, I don't know about that, but there definitely is a phenomenon on Amazon where people will tag their stories in other genres.
Yes.
In order to try to spread it out as much as possible and get it seen by as many people as possible. I know at one time, I was very disgusted because I went and looked at the top 10 books in steampunk, and 8 out of 10 of them were space sci-fi stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like 5 of them were by the same guy who basically spam tags and hired bots for reviews and stuff like that in order to dominate the steampunk ratings, even though there was absolutely nothing steampunk about his stories.
Yeah.
Like, I have seen steampunk in space, but it doesn't sound like that was steampunk in space.
No. This was like, a Starship Warlord type thing. It's like,
sure. No.
Space opera, maybe, not steampunk.
Yeah. So, as someone who's writing a space fantasy, like, I understand it can get wiggly.
It can get wiggly.
Yeah. So, Des says, why does it keep jumping? Okay. Desdemona says, I'm renting a house for this. Oh, nice. This upcoming weekend and hiding from all responsibility and hanging out with some friends for a boozy writer's retreat and does his birthday. Awesome.
That sounds
Happy birthday.
That's so exciting. Happy birthday in advance.
That sounds super awesome.
But we have talked craft and books until it's time to peace out, yo.
I guess it's about that time.
Yeah. Who are you? Where can they find you? And maybe it's time for dinner.
It might be time for dinner and books.
Right.
You can find me at Sako Tumi, or Sako on Google. You'll find all my social medias. You'll find my website. You'll find me.
Awesome. Doc?
And if you want to find out more about me and my books, you can go to your favorite search engine and search on Doc Coleman Steampunk. And that will take you to my website at doccoleman.com. It will also take you to my Amazon author page where you can see all the stuff that I've got out in print. Hopefully it'll actually take you to my YouTube and my Twitch where I'll be streaming this program, and I'll also be streaming a Friday night game night every Friday night until I get tired of it, or
people stop showing up.
Well, actually, pretty much no one shows up, but I go on for a couple hours. I play my current game, and I kind of babble.
No, legit.
But it's like, I think this past Friday, somebody showed up in the middle of it, and it's like, talked to the viewer, and the viewer never commented on anything. So I don't know if they turned it on and then walked away from their computer or what.
Some people are lurkers.
Some people watch it on mute too.
Some people do that, and some people come back and watch it later. So it's content that's out there. Currently, I've been playing No Man's Sky. I thought about switching over to playing Cats, and then I realized it's like, okay, there's this thing I should do to move this No Man's Sky save on, and I went to try to do it, and I absolutely got thwarted for 3 hours on Friday.
Oh, geez.
That's frustrating. I'm sorry. Yeah. And I'm your host, Morgan Hazelwood. I used to blog, vlog, and podcast, writing tips from the pros, and my own Writerly Musings. This week I had a blog and vlog post out talking about how I'm burnt out, totally burnt out. And I've been hoping to get my mojo jojo back, and I have not. So I'm going into reruns. Luckily my podcast, is on like a 2-year delay. So I'm just going to do reruns in alignment with that. And this week I'll be talking about songs to listen to when you're querying that can like pump you up. So Right? Just kicked off season 8. You can find writing tips and writerly musings wherever you get your podcast or at morganhazelwood.fireside.fm. I am Morgan Hazelwood everywhere except X because bleep X and
to hell with X.
Right. And they never gave me that name anyway.
No, that's a dumpster fire.
Sure. So have a great week. Eat chocolate and snacks, and we'll be back next week for the end of winter.
Ooh.
Because spring starts March 19th.
Yep.
So,
does it? Cool.
Catch you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.